What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 21st TheSportUniverse podcast. I'm Brian, and I'm joined with Nick.
What's going on, guys?
All right, so we got a pretty filled-up podcast, at least I think. We're not covering every sport, but, the news that's going out for now. Okay, so I guess we'll start with football, since that's basically what everyone wants to talk about now. What do you want to start with? Just go in order?
Sure.
Okay. So the first thing, the Patriots cut Antonio Brown. I don't, this guy's, like, there's, like, really no words at this point. I mean, he didn't, the thing that he did was, I'm pretty sure it's the rape allegations, right? That's why they cut him.
Yeah.
Which obviously is a terrible thing if it's true, but he just, like, can't stay with the team. And, I mean, that leads to the next thing I will talk about, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess I'll just touch on Antonio Brown. Guys who have some technical difficulties, but again, I'll touch on Antonio Brown. I think the cut mainly came off of, again, there's textual evidence that he may have harassed said trainers that are accusing him of sexual assault. And there's a internal NFL investigation going on, as well as I think a legal investigation, more on the civil side. So no team wants to touch Antonio Brown right now.
Mm-hmm.
And to make things worse, after he got cut, he went on Twitter today, and he started to at different people who had sexual assaults at them. Like, I think he tagged Shannon Sharp.
Mm-hmm.
He tagged. It was a bigger name. He tagged
Ben Roethlisberger too, right?
Yeah, but he tagged Ben Roethlisberger and said, "How come they only got X amount of suspensions?"
Yeah.
It makes his case worse and worse. Like, he's a very talented player, but he just keeps making his case worse and worse. And I don't know what his end goal here is at this point.
So
it's quite bad. I have him on my fantasy team, and I'm questioning whether I should release him or not. I don't know. I'm trying to build a culture, You can't build a culture on my fantasy team. He's going to keep acting like this.
Exactly, yeah. Locker room presence. It's not good. I mean, I've shared my thoughts about Antonio Brown so much at this point.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't used to think he was, like, a bad guy till this year. Like, I guess I just wasn't really familiar with what he did in Pittsburgh, but, like, I thought he was, like, a good locker room presence and all that. Obviously he's not, but I just, like, didn't hear about any of this stuff, which it was a surprise to me at the beginning.
The great organizations keep people like him under wraps.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I swear, like, I saw on Twitter that he said, like, I hate the Patriots and all their fans, but then I couldn't find the tweet again, so I wonder if he deleted that. But I wouldn't be surprised if he said that. I mean, what did he say about Kraft? Was it the same thing with...
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so off of that, we'll go to how good the Patriots are, which is a great topic. Obviously, if you didn't know, they beat the Jets today. The final score was 30-16, I think? 30-13.
Yeah, it was 30 to the teens.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a complete blowout. I mean, it was going to be, but the Patriots put in their backup, and the Jets got 13 points, which you can take that as much as a victory as you want. I mean, I didn't really expect much from the Jets. They're playing with their third-string quarterback, and they're playing against Tom Brady and the Patriots. So I didn't really expect much more from the Jets. But it's definitely not a good thing for them to start the season 0-3. I did have, like, some type of hopes for the Jets this season, but obviously injuries and everything changes that.
Yeah, I can agree. In terms of my opinion on the Patriots, to me, they're the most dominant team in the NFL right now. They're clear Super Bowl favorites. I don't think there's any team that can even touch what they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the Jets, they take another loss, 0-3. They've shelled out a ton of money in the offseason for free agents. So they're very limited on cap space. their draft picks, we'll have to see what those come out of. But the Jets kind of put themselves in a situation to where it's going to work or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't work, they're going to put themselves in a deeper rebuild than they already were.
Mm. I mean, I can't blame them, though. I mean, it's really Sam Darnold getting injured. Or kissing too many people.
I mean, I guess it's Sam Darnold, but there's so many other players on the team.
Yeah.
And when you shell out big money to people like C.J. Mosley and Le'Veon Bell, you got to win football games.
Yeah. Not
that these players aren't talented, but it's a lot of money, and they definitely overpaid for quite a few people.
I guess that's true.
So it's win or shut up, and they're not winning.
So they're shutting
up.
It's not
looking good. Yeah, so if you're not looking, if you're a Jets fan, it's not looking so good.
Yeah, it's not looking so good. I can agree with that. I guess from that, I didn't expect the Giants to ever have a better record than the Jets, but they do now.
Yes, sir.
If you want to talk about that.
Sure. The Giants came in today. They decided to make the switch to Daniel Jones. I've talked a lot about him over the last couple of podcasts. He definitely, he impressed in the preseason, so I had pretty good hopes for this game, and it turned out to be a pretty solid game for Daniel Jones. We were down a lot of the game. Our defense was typical, can't cover anything, can't create pressure. Defense is just horrific. We play Swiss cheese defense, nothing but holes. Janoris Jenkins was one of the best men-on-man coverage corners over the past decade, or I don't know how long he's been in the NFL, but or at least I saw over the past 5 years since he's been on the Rams. He's been the best one-on-one corner in years, in the last couple of years, and I would say last year in particular, and this year he's just the Giants continue to put him in one-on-one coverage because that's what he's always done, and he just gets toasted. He was one-on-one with Mike Evans for the majority of the first half, and Mike Evans put up 150 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. So, and then the Buccaneers decided not to throw to him in the second half, but he wound up making. I'll get to that later. And Daniel Jones performed well throughout the game. Really made good reads. I think he goes to the checkdowns a little bit too much, and he's got to work on his ball security because he turned over the ball quite some times due to fumbles. But he was very good for the Giants in this game. The Giants wound up winning 32-31, I believe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the Giants, Saquon Barkley went down with an ankle injury. The word really hasn't dropped yet on what exactly his injury is, but the rumor has it it's an ankle sprain. He'll probably be out for a few weeks, which kind of sucks. In my opinion, if I was the Giants, if he's going to be out for a few weeks, I wouldn't play him for the rest of the year. I would just sit him.
For the rest of the year?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Let Daniel Jones collect his confidence. Let him run through the system for the entire year without Saquon Barkley. He'll have to produce a lot more, but it'll make him a better quarterback. And at the same time, what's the point of playing Saquon Barkley if he's going to be out a few weeks? He's not going to win MVP. We're not going to the playoffs. You might as well, quote-unquote, tank and not risk a worse injury to Saquon.
But I mean, it's only a couple of weeks, though. That's week 5, and then for the rest of the season, he's just going to sit?
I don't know. I guess you could play him. I'm on the fence. We'll see how long it takes him out.
I get being on the cautious side with him, but that's very, very cautious.
I don't know. I just don't see a point in him playing if he's not going to win MVP because they're not making the playoffs.
I mean, that's not the way to look at things. But okay, you're the Giants fan, so
yeah. And in the second half, the Giants' defense played a lot better. We were down, I believe, 25-10 going into half. Came back in the second half. We were going back and forth touchdowns on consecutive drives. And the Giants got the ball back with a minute 30 left, down 6 points. A couple out routes and corner routes and whatnot. And Daniel Jones were making good reads again. Drove down the field. It was 3rd or 4th and goal, and Daniel Jones took off, ran for a touchdown with about a minute left on the clock. The Giants went up 31 to whatever it was. We had a 1-point lead at that point. The Buccaneers got the ball back. They had one timeout, about a minute left, They chucked it up to, a couple of plays later. They chucked it up to Mike Evans, and he snags it over Janoris Jenkins. They're in field goal range. Easy field goal with 10 seconds left on the clock. The Buccaneers go to kick it, and the kicker shanks the kick. And the Giants win 32-31.
That's nice.
A little rundown of the game. Quite the nerve-wracking game as a Giants fan.
Definitely.
Pretty dramatic. It was a good game to see for Daniel Jones. Quite terrible for Saquon. On the Buccaneers side, Jameis Winston looked really good. He was making good reads. Peyton Barber, the Buccaneers running back, looked very good as well. The Buccaneers seem to be holding their own, even though they lost to an 0-2 Giants team that a little lackluster on talent. I think both teams look well today. Neither team played in particularly bad. So there's positives that both teams can take away from each game.
So would you say that Daniel Jones is the future quarterback for the Giants?
I definitely would. He looked quite impressive today. If he continues to build on his game that he showed today, he could easily be the best quarterback that came out of last year's draft.
Well, that's nice. Okay, we talked about the Jets. So the Bills won again. So they are now 3-0. They beat the Bengals 21-7. Josh Allen continued to play well. I mean, it wasn't his best game, but he didn't suck. So.
Yeah. Josh Allen, very impressive this far in the season.
Yeah.
Bills are definitely the best team in New York right now. Hopefully, if they keep the hot streak alive, they'll make the playoffs in the wild card spot.
I hope not, but okay. What was I gonna say? They are 3-0, and that's very impressive. They played pretty sucky teams though. More technical difficulties. I'm not sure where it ended, but I think I was saying how the Bills have not been playing the best teams. I mean, they played the Bengals, and they played the Giants and the Jets, so 3 teams on the current bottom of the totem pole for football. But, I mean, if you're a Bills fan, it's definitely something to look forward to. It looks like Josh Allen can be a franchise quarterback possibly for them, and they definitely are good enough to beat down on the bad teams. So that's one positive to take away from that. Oh, actually a couple positives. Is there anything besides that for that?
Not really. Yeah, Bills Mafia. Go you guys.
Yeah, that's true. Alright. Ravens Chiefs, right? Alright. You want to just talk about that? I didn't really watch or pay attention to it.
Sure. The Ravens Chiefs game was pretty contested at first. In the first quarter, Chiefs pulled away in the second half, and it was kind of a catch-up game from there for the Ravens. The Ravens almost came back. It was like 28-30-something, 32-33. But the Chiefs winded up getting the ball back and just running out the clock. They threw it, got the first down, and then shut the clock out. Pretty close game. It was kind of like the Buccaneers and Giants game, where both teams could take away positives. In terms of the Chiefs' offense looks better than ever. One thing that I want to note for the Chiefs is that although Mahomes is amazing, and I think if you look through the games so far this season, he's probably going to be MVP again. He's definitely the favorite for it going this far into the season.
Yeah, I would say.
His wide receiver core has so much depth, and I feel like they don't get as much credit as they deserve. McCole Hardman, I think his name is Demarcus Robinson. They were performing exceptionally well. Travis Kelce. And they don't even have Tyreek Hill or Damian Williams, which are their starting running back, wide receiver. And their depth that the Chiefs have is quite exceptional.
Yeah.
And I think, in my opinion, they're kind of my Super Bowl favorites next to Patriots.
Yeah.
I could definitely see Patriots Chiefs Super Bowl.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Just looking at the stats, obviously I didn't really pay attention to it, but Patrick Mahomes definitely did pretty well. 374 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he just continues to impress. I mean, Lamar Jackson, too, is definitely showing that he's... I mean, it wasn't his best game, but he's showing that he's a pretty good quarterback. All right, up next. Eagles lost to the Lions
Yeah, in a pretty close game.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those games that went back and forth, although the Lions had most of the control during the game. Eagles made a run late. I think they were down 3, and Dallas Goedert ran a corner out to the end zone. He had a good 3-4 yards of separation on the person covering him. Carson Wentz hit him in the hands, and Dallas Goedert dropped it. They didn't convert on 4th, and I think the Lions ran out the clock and won the game.
Mm-hmm.
Tough loss for the Eagles. I think it's kind of funny because All Sports News had them power ranked at number 2, which I never even thought was possible.
Right, we're going back to
I said they might even win the division, and that's coming true. Mm-hmm. I think the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East. The Lions, the Eagles look very inconsistent. They have talent, and they just can't seem to put it all into one.
Mm. How's Carson Wentz been in the past? Is he doing good?
He's been average. He's not MVP caliber that he once was, in my opinion, but he's been definitely starting caliber, mid to upper echelon of the quarterbacks in the NFL. Yeah. Which is when he did have his MVP caliber season, I figured he'd fall there. I didn't think he was going to be as good as he was. So you don't think it's from the injury? What did you say?
You don't think it's from the injury?
Man, it could be part of the injury. I don't know. I feel like that year was a fluke. Because I feel like the Eagles really benefited that year after running RPOs, and it hadn't really been run something that was run in the NFL frequently. Mm-hmm. And since NFL teams have adjusted, especially to defending that and working out how to defend that, I don't know. The Eagles system just isn't as effective as it once was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Next up. The Cowboys beat the Dolphins 31-10, I think it was? 31-6.
31-6. That's bad.
So we were talking about when we were setting it up. The Dolphins in the first half, it was, well, you can talk about it. It was you.
Yeah. So I figured. I actually was trying to run the outline. I was like, Miami gave Cowboys a run for their money because I stopped watching it, I think, at half, and it was 6-10. Mm-hmm. So I figured the Cowboys would win maybe 17-10 or something like that. The Miami Dolphins seemed like they improved a little bit coming out of the first half of the game.
Yeah.
But they wound up getting blown out in the second half and pulled the Dolphins. Yeah. Final score 31-6. The Dolphins are by far the worst team in the NFL. Mm. We've talked about them in the past. They are a mess of a franchise, and they definitely need to figure it out. Good news for Jets fans.
I guess so. So that's 3 straight blowouts in a row, and that might be one of the worst starts to a season. I wonder what their score differential is. It's very high.
And the point spread, I think, against the Patriots point spread against the Jets, I think, was 22.5.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
And then, so I can't imagine what the point spread with Miami was with a team like the Patriots.
Oh, that's true.
The point spreads are just ridiculous. Miami, not a favorite team.
I mean, who would favor them? All right, so we'll go into baseball now, and then we'll talk a little about college football, and then we'll be done. Okay, so I guess I'll talk about the Mets first, and then you could talk about the freaking Yankees. So for the Mets, it seems like they're not going to make the playoffs, which is definitely sad might be the wrong word, but it's disappointing. I'm glad that they made the season actually interesting. I mean, the way they started the season, it looked like it was done at the All-Star break. And then they were able to turn around, had that big hot streak, and they made themselves a viable team for the wild card. And, I mean, at one point it was even possible for the division, but obviously both those situations are basically out. I think they're 4.5 games out from the wild card at this point, and there's 8 games left, which would take a miracle, and I don't think the miracle is going to happen this year. There's definitely a lot of bright spots for the Mets going into next season. I mean, I feel like I say this every year, but they have a young offensive core that's been pretty impressive this whole year. They have Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso. Everyone knows what Alonso has done this season. Michael Conforto. J.D. Davis has even impressed. Brandon Nimmo. Is there anyone else? Med Rosario. So they definitely have their young bright spots on their team and could be interesting next year. And obviously their pitching. It's going to be pretty good when Noah Syndergaard and Jacob deGrom are two pitchers on your team. Obviously Noah Syndergaard didn't have the season that everyone was hoping for him to have and finally become that elite pitcher everyone thinks he's going to, but hopefully that comes soon. So there's definitely a lot of bright spots to take away. Pete Alonso is definitely Rookie of the Year, and Jacob deGrom might win his second Cy Young in a row, which is something to look forward to for Mets fans. But other than that, I guess the Mets season's over.
Rip.
Yeah. And then the Yankees.
Yankees on the other hand, season's just started.
Okay.
The Yankees clinched the ALDS last night. I think, what is this? It had been since 2012 since the Yankees had done it.
Mm-hmm.
Yankees look better than ever in terms of hitting. Pitching's been solid. I guess on the downside of the Yankees, the upsides obviously clinched the ALDS for going to the playoffs. Great seed, got home advantage. This is the best Yankees team we've seen in a while. On the downside, we lost Herman to domestic violence. He's done for the year because of MLB rules. And also on the positive side, Betances might come back because apparently it was only a partial tear.
Oh, really?
But he had his Achilles, so he might make a comeback sometime in the postseason. Unaware of details of that. I just know of it. And I guess negative, positive side, the Yankees are still racing to clinch the conference. It's a race between them and the Houston Astros right now. The Astros are one game ahead. I don't know if the Yankees are able to catch them. The Astros are a really tough, hot team. But I think it's definitely between them. Hi, guys. Some more technical difficulties. But, it's definitely between the Yankees and the Astros. Which team's the best team in the MLB. It's going to be tough for the Yankees to catch them because the Astros are a really hot team. It should be fun come playoff time to see those teams meet up at some point. I'd imagine they will unless the Yankees or the Astros have some fluke elimination. But yeah, up until that point, it should be fun.
Yeah, that'll be really fun. All right, so I guess you can talk about college football.
Sure. I guess college football, there's so many games. I don't know. I tried to cover a lot the first week, but I feel like it'd be impossible. We could definitely have our own hour-long podcast just covering college football games because there's so many. Yeah. So I figured I'd stick to the teams that are in contention for Natty win, as well as games that are really exciting or big in the news or close to me, I guess, right? So to start, Alabama, LSU, Clemson, they all won in their typical blowout fashions. Jalen Hurts did well, Tua did well. It's kind of between them for who's going to win the Heisman. Nothing. I hate when the announcers say on ESPN that another non-disappointing week of college football. Is it really not disappointing? Because it's not fun seeing Clemson blow out a team by 50 to 60 points every week. It's just not. There's no point to watch the game at that point.
Definitely.
On the other hand, Georgia turned 3 seed. Just by the way, Alabama is in 2 seed, Clemson in the 1 seed, LSU in the 4 seed. Georgia in the 3 seed actually did not have a blowout game. They had a really close game. They just survived it. They won 23-17, I believe, or something along those lines in terms of score. So yeah, pretty close game. Notre Dame 10 seed, again Georgia 3 seed. So definitely an exciting game. Notre Dame is definitely they obviously got to win more games, but the fact they were able to keep it close with Georgia, I think they're trying to fight for a spot in the playoffs as well. We'll see if they get there. I doubt it, but going on, I guess the big game of the week that everyone was talking about was Washington State versus UCLA. Since UCLA has hired Chip Kelly, it's been kind of a mess there. They haven't really been winning games. But last night it was kind of a different game. Washington State took almost a 30-point lead at half or whatever it was. Huge lead at the half. In the second half, UCLA not only caught up, but then went to like a gunfight, or I forget what it's called, a firefight against Washington. It's Washington State. There's tons of points scored. The final score, I believe, was like 67-63 UCLA. It was quite the spectacle to watch. So yeah, really good game. I guess good for Chip Kelly fans. And that kind of covers the major games of college football, the regular Division I. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, Villanova, my school, as people know, we were the 18th seed going into the game last night, and we won against Townsend, which was the 5 seed. And again, this is like Division I football, the AA, so it's kind of the smaller schools. Mm-hmm. We don't really compete for the national titles on the larger stages, but I think we do have our own national title. And depending on, and I think our playoffs is like more based on like a 16 seed system rather than like 4 seed, which I like better. Better seed, the better tree part of the tree you get in the playoff tree.
That's true.
So yeah, Villanova won last night in overtime. I think 52-45 was the final score against Townsend. It was a pretty dramatic game. One of those games, again, kind of like the UCLA Washington State, where they kept going back and back scoring. Quite exciting to watch. It makes Villanova the last remaining undefeated team in the Colonial Athletic Association, which is the conference division that Villanova's in. So we'll have to see. I think I guess tomorrow they'll have the new rankings out to see where Villanova's seated. But as long as Villanova keeps winning, they'll keep climbing the ranks.
That's true. So
pretty exciting to be at Villanova. Pretty exciting times in Villanova. Might win a football natty and a basketball natty at the same time.
Yeah, that's very exciting. I think that's it for all this sports stuff. We don't have a controversial topic. I don't think we had one last week either. For now, we're just going to take it on a week-to-week basis if we have something to talk about. We don't just want to, come up with some random thing and try and talk about it.
Yeah, guys, comment, email, suggestions, do this.
Yeah, do it. You have any final words, Nick?
I'm going to go with typical. Actually, just to let people know.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
It's not too untypical for me to say this, but in terms of, if you guys know how I work with the autograph shows, MLB Celebrities, you can check them out at MLB Celebrities. I forget what the link is. They have kind of a complicated link. It's not like normal. It's MLB-celebrity.com. You can go look them up. They're having a show in White Plains on October 4th, right on the corner. Right now, they only have listed 2 baseball players going there, so I might not attend if there's not that many players, because number 1, I want to need my help. Number 2, I'm not the hugest baseball guy. As well as, if there's 2 players, it's really worth my time leaving college. But
that's true.
They have another show coming up in Chantilly, Virginia, and that has a lot of players. So if you guys are looking, go to some memorabilia shows or anything like that, those shows are coming up. So yeah, I guess now I'll go with my usual outro. This podcast is a work in progress. We live our busy lives, and this is secondary, so we try to make the best product that we can each week with the time that we have.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, contact me at nick.horvath on Instagram and nicholas.horvath10@yahoo.com. That's my email. So yeah, hope to see you guys next week. Signing out. To you, Brian.
Very official there. Okay, so we'll be back next week. Like Nick said, currently we're both at school, and those things take priority over this. I know everyone's disappointed about that. So, like he said, comment, email us, stuff like that. Check out our videos on YouTube. Tomorrow there's a Jacob deGrom video, so watch that. There's also a new shirt coming out tomorrow, so very exciting news.
New shirt, woo-woo.
If anyone wants to buy a shirt, that would be very nice. But you do you. If you have any interest in writing for us or editing videos, contact us at TheSportUniverse2019 @gmail.com. And thanks for listening. Bye.